We are guardians of the scholarly literature, and we have a responsibility to both our authors to make sure that they go through a fair and unbiased peer review process, but also to our readers so that they get the provenance and the reassurance that the article has been through a due process. We suspect, looking at the literature, that there is bias in single anonymous method, and we were also starting to see in some of our data that we weren't getting representation that we thought was fair across both genders and also geographical. So we felt that introducing double anonymous would be, hopefully, a really sensible way of trying to address some of that bias and making sure that those underrepresented groups had a better chance of being published. Ultimately, whether we like it or not, being published really influences how a scientist's career progresses, and so we really need to take that responsibility seriously. So that was why we put these methods into action. So we think this combination of double anonymous and transparent peer review really gives peer review utopia, if that's not too cheesy, because what that gives us is maximum objectivity pre-publication, but maximum transparency post-publication. There are so many different flavours of peer review, and we really felt that actually the combination of these two was the sweet spot. So what we really did was look at the different types of peer review that are available, and there's no reason why we need to stick with one. We can merge two, and we think that's really where we found that sweet spot. Right now we have at least a full year's worth of data on all our proprietary journals. We've got the volume of data to be able to find some trends, and it's really interesting. What we're seeing across the board is that authors who anonymise their work are more likely to be accepted, but that effect is more pronounced for underrepresented groups. So we're a physics publisher that includes women, non-binary people, and the really strong effects seem to be relating to geography. So authors from Africa and the Middle East, for example, if they anonymise their work, they're more than twice as likely to have their work accepted versus under the single anonymous method. So that really tells me that there is probably bias in single anonymous peer review, and that double anonymous is at least a way of trying to combat that bias and giving equity to all our stakeholders. It's really lovely to see. We collect feedback from our authors and our reviewers all the time, as I'm sure most publishers do, and we get so many fantastic quotes from authors and reviewers who have really felt the benefit of going through this process. We had one author who was a Nobel Prize winner who went to the effort of anonymising their work, and that to me honestly was one of the best days of my working career, because what that told me was that they believe in equity, and they believe in the process, and they trust the scientists that are assessing their work, and they trust their work, that it speaks for itself and that they don't need to ride on their reputation, as it were. And so that really tells me that the community supports and buys into these methods, and the feedback that we're getting from the community is overwhelmingly positive. It's been a real success story. Double anonymous is standard in social sciences, so introducing double anonymous is not a new thing, but it's new to STM publishing. It's really, really rare, and where we have seen it done before, it's typically been on one journal rather than a collective. So as far as we know, we're the first publisher to go across the board offering double anonymous, and we're certainly, as far as we know, again, the only publisher to offer that combination of double anonymous and transparent peer review, and I think that's what makes it really unique. We know, because we see it in our author feedback, that this genuinely has changed how people think about publishing, and we'd love for people to spread the word and encourage their colleagues to think about anonymising their work and supporting journals that offer this kind of combination.